company numbers for us. And today we're going to speak to Manip Nana, who covers the pharmaceuticals for us. And he's going to be talking to us about Aspen. Then Sean's going to take us through a quick technical. And then we'll answer as many of your questions as possible in the time allowed. Please type your questions in the chat, or you can ask them outright. And if your questions aren't just limited to Aspen, you can fire away. If we don't know the answer, then we'll just we'll get you the answer and get back to you. But we look forward to spending time with you, and we look forward to hearing from you. Thank you, Manip.
Thanks, Aro. Good morning, everyone. First and foremost, touching on the macro environment, global healthcare demand and innovation. Demand for chronic diseases, specifically diabetes and obesity drugs, has been surging worldwide. It's important to note that these patents do come off in 2026, in which Aspen aims to produce these generic GLP-1s towards the end of 2026. US tariffs. Aspen is a global manufacturer with significant exposure in the US. With these tariffs, it makes it quite difficult for Aspen products to compete with the US-made alternatives. On a valuation standpoint, we do have an upside of 8.5%, trading at a 1-year forward EV to EBITDA of 7.8 times, which is below its 5-year average. On Aspen's first half of FY25 results, commercial pharmaceuticals done quite well. The revenue was up 7%, supported by the growth in the Latin American portfolio, whereas the manufacturing part of Aspen did not do quite well. The revenue was down 4%. It's important to note we have changed our recommendation from a buy to a hold. This was mainly due to Aspen has been involved into a dispute, a MRA dispute. They have issued out a note mentioning that they might take a financial loss of a once-off impairment of 770 million, as well as affecting the earnings of 2.8 billion. Just touching on the revenue breakdown when compared to the comparative period, prescription done quite well when compared to the comparative period, as mentioned before, supported by the Latin American portfolio. On a geography basis, we have seen growth in Africa, Middle East, Europe, as well as Asia, with declines in Americas, as well as Aspen's manufacturing division. Just on Aspen's manufacturing breakdown, we have seen since 2019, Aspen's manufacturing revenue has inclined quite significantly. However, since 2020, the gross margin has been declining. This was mainly due to the unwinding of the heparin. Just on Aspen's debt overview and history, as mentioned before, since June 2018, Aspen had a high net debt to EBITDA, about 4.3 times. They have done a very good job in bringing that net debt to EBITDA down. Currently, it is sitting at about 2.5 times. Just on Aspen's performance and benchmark, year-to-date, Aspen is down 26.4%. The 1 year down 47.8%. So overall, Aspen's not looking, quite the best when compared to the benchmark. Just on the GLP-1 transformative opportunity, looking at the graphs, we can see that the untreated patient pool is sitting at around 1 billion patients, where the current treated patients are sitting around 20 billion. So there is quite a large disconnect between the two. But just on the valuation, on the bear, base and bull case, equally weighted. On the bear case, we have included the full impact of the MRA dispute, where the base case we have made adjustments for a partial resolution or settlement fee, where the bull case is that we have made no adjustments of the MRA dispute. Just to conclude, we do have intrinsic value of 131.44 cents with an upside of 8.5%. Now I'll hand over to Sean to discuss technicals.
Yeah, good morning, everybody. Yeah, you can see the chart there of Aspen. Yeah, it's trend below. It's always moving averages above the medium and the long-term trend remains bearish. Well, the share price has also been trading with, I call it a long-term down channel since July last year. In the short term, you can also see there that the share price has been moving sideways in a very narrow trading range, as it obviously consolidates at these levels after that, what I call a recent healthy correction came back a few weeks ago. The market took a little knock. So the share price needs to break out above that near-term resistance around about the 127 level, and then the 131 level, which would trigger a change in trend to bullish. And obviously that's where, as Manip said now, is our intrinsic value of 131. So yeah, it's got some legs in it. It does look some promising. You can see at the bottom there the MACD indicator. It is trading in oversold territory, and it is above its trigger line, so it is bullish. So yeah, it does look promising with, as I say, with like a 8% upside potential to intrinsic value. Might be something. Thank you.
Thanks, Sean. Thanks, Manip. Yeah, look, that dip obviously came after the announcement that they were having that mRNA dispute, and the share price dropped like a stone. It has been building sort of a support. Manip, you said that your base case with an intrinsic value of 131 does include a settlement in that dispute.
That's correct, Sarah. Yes.
Did you account for the full 700 million odd, or?
Yes, we have. So with the base case, we have accounted for sort of a partial resolution. So we think it should be around 1 billion settlement fee. With the base case, we have accounted for the full 2 billion rand knock on the EBITDA.
Sure. Okay. That's a proper knock. All right. But from a technical point of view, I mean, Sean, it is busy. Took a hit under huge volume, obviously, and then started hanging around thinking, well, it's not the end of Aspen. And these things typically take a long time to resolve. So we might actually see it bounce from those support levels, waiting for things to happen. Dennis says, do we have any idea of when this dispute is likely to be resolved?
Currently, no. Aspen has not given any confirmation when this dispute intends to be resolved.
And then the other question that I had, Manip, and I don't know if you know the answer. I mean, these GLP drugs are obviously the diabetic drugs, and everybody's using that stuff like Ozempic and that for weight loss purposes. And that are Aspen and them getting involved in a big way in these weight loss products?
Yes. So currently, on this chart here, or sort of a background. So Aspen does have agreement with Eli Lilly to manufacture these weight loss drugs called Mounjaro. However, most of these patents do come off in 2026. So towards the end of 2026, Aspen does intend to produce their own generic GLP-1s. So
Okay,
therefore, Aspen does intend to capitalize on the GLP-1 market.
That's a big opportunity, that probably making generic alternatives to these weight loss drugs like Mounjaro. Okay, let's see if there are any other questions. Let me hop into the chat quickly. No, it's just Dennis who wanted to know whether we know when it was going to be resolved, and we don't know at this stage, Dennis. We'll keep eyes peeled as to what the process involves. They probably will, from a company standpoint, I mean, make announcement untoward. So we'll keep watching the cents, but nothing at the moment. Like I say, I don't see any other questions. Definitely at a strong support at the moment. Has taken a heck of a knock. As Monipa said, he's partially accounted for a settlement in that dispute. Assume that a partial settlement does take place, then we do have an intrinsic value slightly higher than the share price. But if things go well and the settlement's smaller, or they win the dispute, well, then you'd want to be in. You won't get an opportunity to get in once the news is announced. So it's up to you to decide whether to include this in your portfolio. And I don't suppose Aspen makes up a big part of anybody's portfolio. I mean, it's one of the 20 or so odd stocks that you should have in there with for diversification purposes across the sectors. So I don't think such a big risk exists to take a stab around the 120 levels on the stock. And as we've highlighted, with those weight loss drugs losing their exclusivity, or their them becoming available to make generics of in 2026, definitely will present a big opportunity for a manufacturing company like Aspen. So keep your eyes open for that one. Sean, what are we talking about next week? Do you know?
MTN. Manip again.
Okay. Great stuff. All right. So we'll be back with Manip next week. We'll be talking about MTN. Thank you for joining us today. And if there are any questions that arise afterwards, please contact me or Sean. We'll gladly answer. If we don't know the answer, we'll source an answer for you. And then, yeah, if you wanted to contact any of us, just pop us a mail at wealth@psg.co.za, and we'll attend to it as soon as possible. Thank you for joining us today, and we'll see you next week, Thursday, same time, same place. Cheers, guys. Bye-bye.
Cheers.
Thank you all. Bye.